Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Brad Walter, and the topic for this discussion is how to be a professional pilot, professional instructor, and ways that you can continue to improve yourself and keep learning. And these are the aviation instructor's main responsibilities. There are several other responsibilities of aviation instructors, but these are the main five that the Aviation Instructor Handbook lists. These are verbatim right out of the Aviation Instructor's Handbook. I did want to highlight a couple of them. Demanding appropriate standards of performance. This is a big one for me. Just never letting that standard fall. Always maintain whatever, in our case, the ACS is, and always holding your student to that standard no matter what the case is. A lot of people have things going on in their lives, or they'll have an excuse for something, whatever it may be. Always hold them to the standard. Emphasizing the positive is another big one that I think is very helpful to students. It's really easy to bring a student down by talking negatively to them, and it's also really easy to uplift them when they do something well. So just giving them that positive reinforcement will help lift their spirits and make them more eager to learn. And these are a couple of the what not to do's. Obviously, from the previous slide, I said you don't want to yell at your student or belittle them. I come from a military background, and a lot of people think that yelling is their way of getting their point across. To me, from what my experience and what I've seen, yelling at people, whether it's a student or whoever the case may be, most of the time it just shuts that person down. They're not going to hear anything you're saying if you're just screaming in their face or belittling them. They're going to mentally and internally just shut down. So your instruction past that point is going to be ineffective, so there's no point in doing it. Don't fake it. I think our professor mentioned this in his video. If you don't know something or you get something wrong, admit your mistake and look it up and correct yourself. Don't ever pretend that you thought you knew the answer, or say you knew the answer and you're wrong. Don't smell bad. Another one that our professor mentioned, which seems kind of comical, but it can be a huge distraction if your breath is horrible and you're stuck in the cockpit with somebody very close to you, and that's distracting them from instruction. Don't show up unprepared. So you as the instructor, every time you go fly or do ground instruction with a student, you should be preparing for that lesson. Go over the material, make sure you're fresh on it, and make sure you have a plan of action to go over with that student. Don't just show up and shoot from the hip. As professional pilots, we should never stop learning, and especially as instructors, we should always be looking for that next step. And I think a lot of people in the aviation community are. They're always looking for the next rating. They're always looking for the next responsibility, the next job even. So I know you start out a private pilot, then you want to get your instrument rating, commercial rating, multi-engine, high performance rating, tailwheel rating. Just always be striving for that next step. Never be satisfied with where you're at. There's always something more that you can do. One of my instructors back in the day said that he read we have a NATOPS, it's our standardization manual for the plane that I fly in the Navy. He said that he read NATOPS for an hour every day that he was at work. And to me that was huge, because he already had over 4,000 hours of flight time. But just the fact that he took that time to keep making himself better and better every day, to find any details that he may have missed from over the years of flying. So just never stop. Always read something, whether it be one of the aviation handbooks or your POH. Read something for a certain amount of time every day. It doesn't have to be super long. Just read it over. Join an association. If you have a local flight association, join up with them. And go to the events. Just immerse yourself in the aviation community. FAAsafety.gov and Bold Method are two things that I use. I get emails. There's an app for Bold Method. Just a couple things to just help keep that immersion in aviation, and always keep trying to learn. And in conclusion, we always want to be professional, and we never want to stop learning. I think being a professional, there's a lot of weight that goes into that word professional, and all these things we just talked about can sum up in that one word: just being a professional about your job. And this is the reference that I used to put together this presentation, the Aviation Instructor's Handbook. Hope you all enjoyed.